Hey, Marian Call.
Hey, what?
Say hi to the internet.
Hi, Internet! What's up? It's trivia night. They're asking us what all these video game theme songs are. Or rather, they're asking those people inside. We're standing outside the bar. They wouldn't let us in.
We're just yelling questions through the window at this point. I worked hard this week, so today I am treating myself to cake. Can I just say, as someone who is both a geek and a person who likes cake, that I'm really tired of the cake is a lie jokes. Sometimes cake is just cake. Today I have to go walk to the post office and buy a bunch of stamps because within the next week or so I have to send out graduation announcements. We have these big fancy ones that I bought from the school for too much money. And then I also bought postcards to send to my friends and sort of people that that don't look at nice stationery and go, oh, that's nice, you know what I mean? Yeah, so I know I didn't do quite a number of VEDiAs in a row, and it would be crass of me not to mention that. But on Tuesday I had 2 group presentations due. But the first one was we had to read some nonsense article about this terrible Melville book. Like, the class acknowledges that it is a terrible book, but we still had to read it. And so we had to read this article about, like, you know, resonant frequencies and incest, and then we had to explain it to the class. And that was not really much fun. And then the other one was for Spanish, and Spanish professors and teachers are always trying to find ways to make it exciting and interesting. And so each group was assigned a Spanish-speaking country. My group got Mexico, which I felt was kind of a softball assignment, but I'm not complaining. And so rather than writing scripts and reading them in front of the whole class, we decided it would just kind of be easier if we did like a newscast and recorded it and made a film that we could show everybody. And I volunteered to edit because I think I'm fairly proficient in iMovie. And one of the people in my group is an actual, like, honest-to-God Lucha Libre wrestler, so we made a news story about how a giant Lucha Libre wrestler was destroying various prominent cultural artifacts in Mexico. My favorite part was we needed to somehow convey that he was destroying the city, and so I made a Lucha Libre wrestler destroying the city montage set to Carmina Burana. I spent 8 or 9 hours on Monday doing that, piecing that together. And so I was just really tired of iMovie. And I just was sick of its shit. And I've never gotten so close to throwing a piece of very expensive hardware out a window as I was on Monday night. So I figured I needed to kind of step back a little bit so that I didn't do harm to myself or to my laptop. And it was also just it was a lot of stuff too. On Thursday I had to give a presentation to my English class about my final project, because the assignment is we have to pick a topic and then write. It's a journalism class, so we have to write on this topic for 4 different periodicals. So I chose to research the history of geek culture, and I've started my research with the etymology of the word geek. Probably came from the word gekken, which was used, I want to say it's a Hungarian word, and then the word geek first showed up, and it described performers in traveling circuses who bit the heads off live animals, usually snakes or chickens. I guess the word was to differentiate them from the freaks, who were born with deformities, whereas geeks chose the circus life. And then in the 50s, I want to say like 1952, there was a Robert Heinlein story called the Year of the Jackpot, where he used geek to describe someone who was very interested in science or mathematics. And it showed up in the Oxford English Dictionary as that in 1957. And then in 1981, the word geeky showed up as an adjective. And in my research and in my presentation, I said that this is a significant moment for sort of the word geek, because now geek was something that had its own attributes, and you could point to something and say that that was of or relating to geeks, and that's when, we can say, according to the English language, that geek became its own identity. And then I kind of made up some blather about Star Wars and Revenge of the Nerds and comic books. I don't remember. I made a pretty chart about how con attendance has spiked since the mid-90s. And stayed there, actually. But yeah, most of that was just kind of bull honky. So I spent a good deal of Wednesday morning and afternoon researching this presentation. And then there was a shooting on campus. Not like deliberate, just some guy got freaked out by security and shot at them. But still, I kind of was afraid to leave the library, which all things considered was a fairly productive choice. This cake is actually a couple weeks old. It's been in my fridge since the 12th, which was my mom's birthday, actually. Happy birthday, dear Mom. I bought you a cake. I forgot to buy candles, but I still got a cake. Wow. So here's your cake.
And it's the traditional little Easter nest on the cake.
They reminded me of the little Twitter birds, which was my thinking. It had little blue Twitter birds on top. Now it does not. And it's been in a sealed container, so I'm pretty sure it's still edible. As best as I can tell, it's still edible, but if I'm gone for another week, it's probably because I got food poisoning. Tastes fine, though, and that's what counts. That's what cake is for.
Bueno, yo hablé con la agente de viajes y yo le dije, quiero ir a Barcelona, y ella me dijo, el pasaje cuesta $900. Y yo...